Hey, big girl diary. There's some struggle streaming already. Hey, how's it going? How's it going? I know it's been a minute and I do apologize. Trying to get some things straightened out. And I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Um, it is getting, how can I say, wild. It is getting really wild. I did a video on it yesterday about these women still backing Amber Heard and Evan Rachel Wood, despite the evidence in their face. It's like right there, right there. And they are still, it's like still believe all women. And okay, I get it, sisterhood. I most definitely understand it. Believe your sisters. Now, we have to bring some reality to this right here. There has to be some kind of reality, or shall I say, a reality check. And I want to most definitely apologize. This is just sort of came out of the blue, and I do apologize for that. I didn't put it up on my community page or let you know. However, I digress, but keep watching. I got to point to this. And I hope you do add your info to what I'm getting ready to say. Now, this narrative that is going on out, no matter where you go within the United States. And now it's at the point to where it's going to different places to believe all women. And I said in other videos, I don't believe the woman down the hallway. Now, if you have a pattern of not being able to tell the truth, where the truth just misses you, it's like you're running for the bus and a bus goes right past you. And that right there is your believability is because you lie a lot. Now, Amber Heard has told lies that were out of this world. And no matter what, people believed her, even though her actions were in direct contradiction to what she said. Case in point, in the trial, Amber Heard said, "Hey, how you doing? How's it going? Wait a minute. I'm starting to get this. I'm starting to get this. Even though in 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 the courts, she said out of her mouth, go back to it. I even covered it. She said that before she married Johnny Depp, he beat her up, and she still married him. Who does that? Somebody's going to beat the slobber knocker out of you the day before your wedding when you're all jacked up and you're still saying, I do. Okay. Okay. Let's say that there may be a little plausibility. Okay. Let's say it's possible, but highly improbable. Let's agree to disagree. Or it's like, okay, let me put that out the window. Let me put that over here. Now, Amber Heard is the same person that had a testimony from, I can't remember the name of that company, but they did, what do you call it? Check the box. Well, not the box, but checking when all this came out about Amber Heard saying, Johnny, I didn't deck you, I hit you. Check it out. I didn't deck you, I hit you. Meanwhile, out there saying, he hit me. He hit me. He abused me. He did this to me. But information coming out directly contradicting that. And even then on a stand, she even found ways, she contradicted her own testimony. What was said in her deposition, she turned around and contradicted. But believe all women. Ladies, people in, okay, everyone, this right here has to stop. This has to stop. This foolishness, this void in between people's ears simply has to stop. It does. Because it makes zero sense to sit here and say all these things. Hey, Jibs and Nabs, how you doing? How you doing? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm getting this right. I'm getting this right. I'm getting it right. And this right here has to, all this wildness has to stop. Because what is happening is that you have a certain section of us women, and men, I'm so sorry. I am. We're trying to get our crazy sisters under control. We are. But you have a section of women who will use this and weaponize it to beat a man down. And what women are doing is they are doing whatever they can to make men submit to their will. Because, okay, I don't want to say because I'm not in their head, but however, their actions show that, hey, I'm in charge. You do what I say do. And if not, because I have blanket immunity, I can lie on you and get away with it. And it has been proven time and time again. Now, a woman can go, Amber Heard had a stay away order against Johnny Depp when she was the one abusing him. And then she goes, come here, I want to talk to you. Come here, come here, come here. Now, if you don't give me some of your property and money, I'm going to not only divorce you, but I'm going to say you beat me. Look it up. Don't believe me. Don't believe a word that I say, look it up. Because you want to believe all women. Alyssa Milano, look, I understand you want to stand for women. I get it. Just make sure that you're backing the right woman. Because not all women have good within their hearts. Some of their hearts are so black and so dark that if light were to come down, it would just make it disappear. And I believe some of it, some women hate men so much that they'll do anything to destroy them. And that's why I'm starting to see that no matter what information comes out, they're going to still look past Amber Heard's behavior and still fight for her, even in the midst of her being considered a liar in 3 countries. What? 3 countries. 3. She lied in Australia. They're looking into that. In England, She didn't lie there per se, but her words in a magazine lied. And in the US, brand proven and found liable for defamation on a lie. Look, this right here, all this foolishness, and I said this in other videos, this right here falls exactly at the feet of feminism. Feminism, believe all women. Feminism has its hand in everything. Look, feminism, you did your job. Women, we can lie and get away with it. Women, we can be anything that we choose to be now because now we have the ability to. Thank you for that. But now your message and your narrative has been so corrupt to where you're going to get into anything, any and everything, to where now you're telling fat women, hey, accept me as I am. You should have no, men should have no standards. Men should not put any requirements on me in what they want, but I, being big, can be with you because you should have no standards because I want you. And then if you reject me, then you're fatphobic. I'm not trying to go into that right there, but I'm just simply pointing out the fact that it doesn't matter. Whatever I say goes because I'm a woman and I'm going to beat men down until they accept my narrative. Now, thank goodness for Johnny Depp. I just could not thank Johnny Depp enough because now he's giving men away by suing Amber Heard and winning. Suing her and what he put out about himself. He sacrificed his privacy and his inner thoughts and everything was on display for the world to prove Amber Heard was lying, and not only lying, he wanted his life back, his reputation. But Alyssa Milano was saying, believe all women. Now, I don't hear Alyssa Milano out here backing Amber Heard. Alyssa, you're all crickets and quiet. The crickets are real loud. Don't you hear it? Chirp, 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 chirp. Well, you know how cricket sounds. I don't know. But in this interview, I'm going to go back to the interview. This woman had the nerve to say, you can't make this sugar honey iced tea up. To where she said, oh yeah, Amber was she was abused, and it was Johnny that did it. And in the court, the bots, there was all these bots out there smearing her name, but who brought it out? Oh, Johnny Depp. Really? Okay. Oh my goodness. Look, for those of us thinking people that have something right here, which we call a brain, and we have rational reasoning and can logically look at things and break it apart. Now, if Johnny Depp were to do that, why would he bring that out for it to be cross-examined? No, that makes no sense at all. Look. Oh, Lord, you feminists. Oh, goodness. And I really don't believe that you actually believe what you're putting out there. And women, we really have to look at this logically. Please. These women out there saying believe all women don't believe women. They don't. They say it, but don't. Believe Amber Heard. Don't they require her to give them documentation? Just really look at, just to really stop. Just stop and take a look at what you're, look at the narrative, look at the wild stuff what they're putting out there. And then you have, oh my goodness, Evan Rachel Wood. You would have to be in a freaking coma to believe that stuff. You really would. Okay. Go back to the declaration. Okay. Back up a little bit. Because I'm go back to the declarations. Now, all this right here rests on, really more so on the, actually it rests on so many different things, but let me just, one provable thing. And that is Ilma Gore's twin, Ilma Gore's twin sister. Now, Ilma Gore may be a grifter, but she's the dumbest one on the face of its earth. Thank goodness. If you're going to commit crimes like that, right? You don't give the evidence to your twin sister and you leave it and you latch her into your harebrained scheme. You don't. To where Reverend Rachel Wood, and I'm going to bring this FBI letter back in. I'm going to keep on throwing it in every chance I get because that FBI letter means so much. On Marilyn Manson, in which she used it on Marilyn Manson, but then she brought that in and put it on Jamie Bell for custody. Calculating, but believe all women. Now, it's unfortunate that the judge, well, no, fortunately, she's the judge is being fair, looking at the facts that are in. And I don't know why. Hopefully that okay, let me stop. Let me not get into hopes. That right there is not tangible. But the judge looked at the FBI letter and did not enter it. Oh, okay. Let me see. Eastern Washington resident says AH needed to study her own deposition to keep her story straight. I haven't been able to bring myself to keep up with the Manson Wood. The Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial is too freshly swirled around in my brain. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You are. It is. But it just simply goes back to the lies that these feminist woman group, believe all women camps are holding on to. This is the same Amber Heard that went up, got on the stage and saying that I am the face of DV. Yeah, DV. Because this happened to me, and I am going to be the spokesperson. I am your champion because I've been through it. When they found her in a lie, they said nothing. Oh my goodness. She got on your platform that you paid her. You paid her. I know you did. You paid her to get up there and do that. Now, I'm not anti-woman. No. No, 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 no. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm saying look at things for what they are. Just look at it. So we have to put things in perspective, and the only ones that can do that is women. We have to rein our crazy sisters back in and to get them to act right. But nothing is going to happen unless if we do it. Now, Marilyn Manson, now when he does this, OMG. What Evan Rachel Wood did made Amber Heard makes it look like child's play. Evan Rachel Wood is on a different level of manipulation. I mean, oh, now Amber Heard is on a manipulation that is touched with delusion, foolery, and stupidity, all wrapped up in one ball. But Evan Rachel Wood is on a different level of manipulation to where she actually believes her delusions to where she can't tell right from wrong from what I'm able to gather and by what people say about her. Which leads me to one question. I feel really bad. Well, okay. Marilyn Manson invited that craziness into his life. I'm sorry, Marilyn, you did. You did. Dita was the perfect person for you, but you had to have craziness. Mm. Evan Rachel Wood's delusions go so deep. If you go back to some of her interviews, even her brother said that she can't distinguish between what's real and what's fake, which is scary and dangerous. This is a person who can say one day, I love you. Let's have this great life together. And the very next day, believe wholeheartedly to where she will go outside and see maybe some burnt paper on the ground. You try to burn the house down. I know you did. And firmly believe it. And then take course of action from there. Her ex-husband, Jamie Bell, came out and said, either Evan is lying or her mental health. Either way, I'm afraid for my son. But believe all women. Now, what does this do? This type of behavior. What does this do to women that really have these issues, truly have them, and are able to prove it? Would they be overlooked? Would they be made to look at, oh, well, you doctored this? Evan Rachel Wood came up with a fake FBI letter that her girlfriend drafted up and put it out there, going around trying to get women to come in to say these narratives. Now, whether if she's Evan Rachel Wood might be adding a little extra sprinkle by forcing women in who had relationships with Marilyn Manson, forcing them in some way to go along with her narrative for her to make money. This is a woman that claimed to love Marilyn Manson, and she cooks up this harebrained scheme into turning her documentary into $1 billion, just delusional, into $1 billion documentary. It is so sad that that is real. It is so sad. And it just goes to her character. She'll lie, she'll cheat, and she'll manipulate to make that phoenix rise. And however, going back to my initial point, do we just flat out believe all women that Alano stated? Believe all women. Well, this country is based on rule of law, and that is innocent until proven guilty. Now, just look at as many lives have been destroyed based on a lie. I mean, we can go just through the last 20 years and point out how many lies were told. For whatever reason, a woman told lies on a man. But this has to be stopped. I mean, we have to really, women have to really call other women out who are lying, and the supporters. I get you have so much invested in this. Just a thought that you did all this work for a person that lied and you drank the Kool-Aid. Now, you have two choices. Do you admit that you drank the Kool-Aid, or do you continue running with the lie because you don't want to look at the fact that you backed someone who lied? Do you call that person out saying, hey, straighten this out? I did all this work and to help you, and you were lying all along? What does one do? Oh my goodness. And it's at a point to where there's going to be a sweeping backlash that we all are going to suffer because we will not call out the women who are just simply telling lies. And then we all got to pay for it. It's wild. It is truly, truly wild. So, what are your thoughts? Let's see. Do I have it? Oh, she is up. Oh, good. Call in. Call in and tell me. Well, tell us what you think. Do you think that something more needs to be done? Women need to speak out more, calling other women out, making them responsible for what they do to people, make them responsible for destroying somebody's life with their lies for whatever reason? Or do you think that just simply let them go and to continue, allowing the status quo? What do you think? Oh, yeah, yes. Hey, Lexi Pixie, how are you? Wait a minute, I'm getting this. Wait a minute, I'm learning these buttons. I put it up and I messed it up. Hey, member. Hey, I'm sorry I didn't put anything out. It was impromptu. I had a serious week. Okay, great. Okay. Okay, great. I should have had this all together. All righty. Yeah, but I look at other content creators and I have a I have a strong belief that they are just talking this mess. Don't believe it for clicks, for subscribers. That's what I truly believe that. And 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 for that is dreadful because you're going to have young impressionable people that are listening to this content saying, well, even that no matter what, no matter what, Amber Heard was over in Israel, slobber knockered Eve, and that right there is okay. Overlook that. We got to keep with the narrative. We have to keep this power that we have. We got to hold on to it. Um, don't you know absolute power corrupts all people? Just look at what you're producing. Just look. And the fact that I keep on hitting this microphone. And the fact that so many women are buying into, oh man, they, I can't do nothing but shake my head because case in point, there was this young girl talking to her friend, this guy, and she was basically calling him, okay, oh please don't mess up, calling him homophobic because he was not interested in dating a transgender girl. And she was on and on him and on him and on him and on him. And I try so hard not. I just try to ignore it. But it got to the point of where she got so ridiculous to where I said to her, I said, "Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm trying so hard to ignore this conversation." But I asked her, I said, "Why are you doing this?" She said, "Well, my friend's interested in him, but he's not interested in her because she's a transgender girl." And I said, "But okay, does he have the right to choose whom he wants to date?" I said, "Matter of fact, all right, now I'm going to call you a hypocrite first." And I said, "Yeah, yeah, I am." And the guys are like, young boy was like, "Where is this going?" And I said, I'm calling you a hypocrite because you need correction. Would you date a transgender guy? She said, no. I said, but, and so he's like, look at you. Look at you. I don't care which way you go. It doesn't matter. I know I deviated a little bit. It doesn't matter. But when you, and I see so many young ladies doing this, when you do something like that and you won't do it, not cool at all. But back to what I was saying, I digressed a little bit. I had to get that off my chest. But we have to, and men, this right here is not a fight for you. Unfortunately, you're caught in it because you are being directly affected by it. But this right here, the women, we have to come together and get this all straightened out. And those women who are on the fence or are too afraid to say something because they are afraid of what other women would say, or call them names, because we are really good at gaslighting and and changing the narrative and doing all these little manipulative tactics that we do to maintain the narrative that we want. I gotta say, Amber Heard did a great job trying to do it, and I have to say, Evan Rachel Wood is a master at it. Is a master at it. So please call up. What are your thoughts about this? Give me your thoughts, as far as how these content creators are still pushing a narrative, believe all women, in spite they see the facts that are completely contrary to what they're saying and what they're trying to push. Okay. Okay, great. Oh, okay, I understand that. Lexi Pixie. I get it. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Calming the babies down. Okay, fabulous. Hey, big girl diary, how you doing?
I am doing great. How are you doing?
I am doing fabulous.
It is so nice to talk to you.
Great, great, great.
I am the person that called and said you need to do a T-shirt that says you can't make this stuff up.
I'm working on that. I do have a store, but I'm trying to. Man, I got to. Oh my goodness, I have to.
You do. I'm one in a heartbeat.
Oh my goodness.
You can't make this stuff up.
You can't. Look, I got a wild imagination, but wow, not that wild. This is some.
No, I know. This is just now. It's just crazy. It's just every time I hear a new thing, I'm just like, this is insane. It's just insane. And so I just turned on YouTube and I'm just catching up with what you're talking about. So I may be off topic,
Okay.
but what is wrong? Why? Why are these women so mean? I just don't understand why they're so mean and why they do what they do. I mean, obviously. So I'm going to talk Manson. I'm going to talk uh, Twiggy or Jordy,
Okay.
and then Lane,
Okay.
who just passed. Um, or Jessica, who, just harassed Laney, ended up harassed Twiggy / Jordan. I mean, it just breaks my heart, all of it, all of it. I think, in my opinion, and I'm going to be all over the place, but in my opinion, Manson just adored Evan Rachel Wood.
Yes, he did.
I think he loved Dita.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I understand about Dita, which I'm going to our show in February, I'm so excited. But I think that the two, Dita and Manson, were just so alike.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a different time. If they would have come together at a different time, I think it would have been a different story.
Yeah.
He was still just too much into his party mode.
Mm,
And Dita expected him to be her husband
right.
and that they were going to do these great things. And I think they could have done these great things together.
Mhm.
But life is like it is. And then here comes Evan Rachel Wood, and she's like this little party girl, and and he took her in as this muse and this, and she just, why can't she just own it? Why can't she just own the fact that she was a party girl and she was with him? And I don't know.
Can I answer
Yes,
that?
please.
Okay. If you ever watch Fraternity Court
Mhm,
or even Maury Povich,
mhm,
these women will say, I've only been with this one guy, only him.
mhm,
And then go ahead and test 10 other guys. And she had 10 sexual partners within a 2-week period, but would never own up to it because it is so embarrassing and so far from the way she was raised.
mhm.
And how do you look at that saying I have to test all these guys and you're like, oh man, oh my goodness, I did that. Evan and Rachel Wood will never, ever, as long as the grass is green,
Mhm.
be responsible for her part into breaking up a marriage
Mhm.
and doing the things that she did that was so contradictory to the way she was raised,
Mhm.
and being a part of a movement that do as thou will, but not wanting the responsibility for what you do.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes. 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 And I fully believe that she's the final nail in the coffin for that relationship. And I mean, you know what? That relationship ended, and Dita's doing well, and Manson's with his new person, and
I know Dita is always on his mind.
well, I just got her book, which I'm like backtracking. I'm like picking up from the past.
Mhm.
But he wrote on her book, how he cared about her, and what she did for him. And I think they were just two people that it was just the wrong time. And
Oh, I get it.
and these are people, we don't know these people,
Right.
and yeah, it's so frustrating to see people. And let me back up with how I got involved in watching any of this stuff was back when Johnny Depp, when the Australian thing happened
Mhm.
with those. And I remember looking at my husband and being like, oh, that's a shame.
Mhm.
I really like Johnny Depp.
Right.
But here we are, we've got Harvey Weinstein, and then, the killer, Bill Cosby.
Mhm.
I mean, what a heartbreak that was. Like, oh my God, I wanted to be parent like Bill Cosby on his show. I wanted to be a Huxtable.
Mhm.
It was like this was a person that I just thought was the best, and then find out, oh well, maybe not. So my mind was already in this. I hate to say it, but this cancel culture. Because as soon as I heard, because I don't know these people, they're famous, and I'm just here living my life, and oh gosh, that's just so sad.
So,
And
can I add on to
here
that?
comes Johnny Depp. After the heartbreak of Bill Cosby, so here comes Johnny Depp, and he saw the dogs in Australia, and then Amber comes on, and she's like, "Oh, he abused me," and it's just like, well, dang. That just really sucks. I really hate to hear that. And I can remember thinking that.
Mhm.
Standing in my kitchen thinking, well, I really hate to hear that about him.
Mhm.
But I didn't question it. I'm like, he's in Hollywood, he's, whatever. And then the trial started, and I just kind of happened upon it, and I started watching it, and it just took the more it went on. I'm like, oh my God, this is a person, and this is what we keep hearing now, is these are people. And I felt like, and how do you say you let someone down that's famous that you don't know? But I felt so sad, so like, I didn't believe, and it's a, at the end of the day, this is a person that got taken advantage of by another person. And that could be my brother, it could be anybody that's taken advantage of in that way. And it's just sad. It's just very, very sad. And
I want to add two things to your statement.
okay.
All right. Bill Cosby. At that time, my mom she's 80. She had me late in life, so and I was talking to her about it, and she said back at that time it was so much freedom to where they were trying to get away from their parents, the silent generation, from the rules of having a husband, a marriage, the traditional family. And my mom was like, no, that's not what I want. This is what I want because I saw what my mother went through. I mean, she was home and she seemed to be locked into this little bubble and she had no freedom. And my mother was like, at that time, you had the beginning of the Flower Children and the free love, no war, smoke weed, and then you had all that stuff going on, and you had people dropping. You have to be very careful. Acetic acid.
I understand.
And that was a culture that came from oh man, who was it? Oh man, I see his face. Paul Simon. No, he was. Don't you be my bodyguard? No, the other one. Oh my goodness, Joe Cocker. Um, um, oh my goodness, it's here, but it's not coming out here. But you had that wave to where it started in California and it just blossomed all over to where society has changed. The music changed.
Right.
To where it became aggressive and anti this and anti that. You had all those things. And that's why it was so easy for women to say, oh, okay, I could go ahead and do this. Now, I believe that it was more to it. Women were dropping Quaaludes doodles. Quaalude doodles. Oh yeah, and thank you, Bob Dylan. Okay, Bob Dylan. And you had and it was a bunch of people were in it. You had let me see, the 60s, you had the Supremes, Stop in the Name of Love and all this other stuff. So you had that culture that was right for women to fall into. Now, here's the scary thing. When you fall into that and then you stop and look at what you did, you don't want your parents knowing that's what you did. Case in point, this girl who's she's an OnlyFans model, and someone took pictures of her doing acts with a guy on her knees and taped it onto her parents' door. And she was crying and saying, I never wanted my parents to know this. So I think I think it's way more to it. I was talking to older people about that, and they all said the same thing. That was the time. And I look at Dickerson when she came out and said that Bill Cosby did that, and I'm just like, okay, if he did, and I'm not saying this because I'm black. No,
Sure.
I'm just saying this because I understand eras and movements are always started by the music, and then everything else follows. So I think it was way more than that, way more. And they just don't want to be responsible. Like the one girl who said that he did that, Bill Cosby did abused her. Now, I would like to know her parents. What was she doing at the Playboy Mansion at the age of 16?
Yeah.
I look at R. Kelly. Those parents ought to be arrested, put in jail right next to him because they H trafficked their daughters for money. He came out and said, I'm not an ATM machine. We got to look at the parents.
Yeah.
So saying that R. Kelly, nah, we have to really, really take a look at that. And then it was so easy for the girls to turn around and say, oh, he did this to me. He did. Look at your parents. What were you doing? Why were you not listening? Why? Oh man, it gets crazy. But now you made
Crazy.
and now you made another statement. I didn't mean to go so far afterwards.
I love to hear you.
Oh, thank you. You can't tell my children that. They're like, okay, mom,
No. Sure.
and you said something else. Oh my goodness. Oh my god, I'm having an old people's moment.
Well, I'm an old people, and who knows what I said because I just shoot from one thought to another.
Okay, wait, I think I remember. Now, what's going on today? And what made it so easy for Marilyn Manson, or better yet, for Evan Rachel Wood to come in and to bust into a relationship like that and easily bust it up and take no responsibility. That has been happening for a while. I mean, you had who was it? Alyssa Milano said that her and Shannon Doherty got into a fight over Colin Farrell, to where Alyssa was like, I want him. Well, Shannon Doherty said, well, I want him. And they went after each other to where Shannon Doherty got fired and do anything. And I see it not only on the elite level, but I see it on the everyday common person level, to where
Yes.
they'll say, hey, I mean, I know you got a girlfriend, but hey, I'll be your side chick. I mean, side chicks. I'm oh, ooh. Which leads to no responsibility for your actions. And then, and I'm very tied in to the point that I'm making of this live stream, is that because you do what you want, now you want to turn around and lie to make yourself look better because you don't want to accept the fact that this is what you did. And now you have Amber Heard supporters will believe her, or supposedly believe her, despite the evidence that is right in front of their face. You have Eve Bartlow in a picture of Amber Heard smiling, Eve Bartlow trying to smile right next to a guy, right next to her, and Eve has a dark ring around her eye, and she's trying to smile like, oh, it's okay. I just hit the door, and Amber Heard gets away with it. So my question to you is, what do we do about these women who behave like Amber Heard? What do we do with them?
Well, and the whole thing of like, just believe me because I'm a woman. I mean, and I used to consider myself forever as a feminist. I was like equal rights for, women, for people. And now I'm just like, oh, no, I'm not part of that group because everybody should be, I don't want to say the word judged, but um, anybody can lie.
Mhm.
Anybody can do anything.
Mhm.
It's like, here's the thing I used to tell my dad and I would get in conversations all the time. And I would be, Dad, it seems like we figure out something is wrong.
Mhm.
And then we try to correct that wrong. And then we go so far into correcting the wrong, we create another wrong.
Oh yeah, so
And
true.
that's what I kind of feel about this whole, because I can remember when the Me Too movement started, and I was like, yeah, there's a lot of us that have had things that happened, and this is a good thing to,
Mhm.
be able to talk about. Yeah, I had something kind of bad happen to me, and I was ashamed of it, and I thought it was my fault, and I thought this was a good thing, and now it's turned out to be this creepy, gross thing that's just like, oh, you're in a bad relationship, and instead of just saying, and I'm frightened to say that. It makes me frightened to say a bad relationship isn't necessarily an abusive relationship.
Right.
It's a bad relationship.
Right.
And you might not be able to communicate with each other. And I don't for a second think that Evan Rachel Wood Evan Rachel Wood was put in any kind of situation that she didn't want to be put in. And Amber Heard did some really bad things to Johnny Depp. And, when are we going to figure out that men do get abused? I mean, let's go back in time with there was cartoons and things about, men that were browbeat by their women. Okay, what was that? That was just abuse. But I didn't want to talk about it because you weren't masculine. If your, woman was, bossing you around or whatever. And it's like, I don't know how we get there. I don't know how we get to where we just treat each other nicely.
Well, as I said earlier, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Mm,
And
right.
we as women, we have been given the power to where we can just simply say, he touched me and he did this to me. And you don't investigate. And next thing you know, this person's life is completely destroyed.
Yeah.
And
Have you watched any of Greta Aurora?
oh yeah, I like her.
Yeah, and she's like, I loved everything about what happened.
Mhm.
I was in control, and my womanhood is in my sexuality. And, if I don't like something, you can't go, oh, it is such a hard conversation. It is such a hard conversation to have because for a long time women were put in a bad spot.
Yeah.
But
I think it's a Mhm.
speak up. If you don't like it,
That's right.
say you don't like it.
That's right.
And then don't go back, however many years later and say, oh, well, I didn't like it when, this happened or that happened. Well, no, I think you did. I think you did. And if you didn't, you should have said something. And why are you cutting back? Look, I've been married for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And there's things in my relationship that I've been like, I don't really like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to come back and, accuse my husband of like bad things because I didn't like it at the time. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And Amber Heard, oh my gosh, I don't even have words. I don't have words.
I mean,
for her.
what I'm glad is that more men are now reporting that they're getting hit.
Yeah, I hope this is what I thought about through the whole trial is I hope this us of
Mhm.
the truth
Yeah,
that, you know, yeah,
you
that
know,
this happens to men.
I think that we women were so focused on um the opportunity of outcome and it's simply just having the opportunity of, oh, what is it called? Opportunity outcome or equal. Oh, I can't. I'm telling you, I'm messing it up. But I think if we were, oh my goodness, it's here, but it's not coming out here. I'm having a moment. Oh my goodness, at the wrong time.
It's okay.
They should have put more white mocha.
And I'm not.
I'm having my Starbucks iced coffee white mocha, and I don't think they put enough white mocha in. That's what I think what it is. That's what it is. Um, we were too focused on having the correct outcome. I mean, the opportunity of outcome instead of the opportunity of equality. And just for us to have being able to have the equality simply to participate, but not making it to where we have to win at all costs.
Right.
Okay, Eastern. Okay, watch the replay. And I hope you make the next live stream. I'm sorry. Now I think what we can do from here as women, and that is to simply talk about it. What we're doing right now, and I think by you saying what you're saying is very powerful because by saying, okay, like for me, um, my ex-husband, we would have been married for 31 years. But however, when I divorced my ex-husband, I walked away with absolutely nothing.
Mhm.
And we were young, we got married, children, and a lot got in the way. Now, I could easily say, Alex, it's your fault. You made me fat.
Oh, I know you're doing.
I am going to the courts and I'm saying, you made me fat. It's your fault, Alex. You'll be watching. I can hear him now. Damn it. No, but what we have to do, I believe, is we have to understand what part do we play in what's going on.
Mhm.
And that right there is the hardest thing to do, to look at what we did. Now,
Yeah.
now for allowing it to get this bad, like sometimes I substitute teach.
Mhm.
And this girl, oh my goodness, I stopped the entire class. I could stop. And I immediately corrected her. She said, 'cause he was talking and he walked past her and accidentally nudged her as he was going in between the aisles. And she said, you gripped me. I'm like, stop, stop. That is a serious thing to say. She just said it as it was nothing. And I said, no, he did not. But he did. I'm only playing. You can't play like that. You can destroy this young man's life with you saying that. And by your level of maturity, you'll follow it through to the very end because you do not want to admit that you were simply playing around. But once it got serious, you have to continue on with the lie because if you go back on it, then you're going to look like a complete liar. Well, I didn't say liar or anything. I really cleaned up a whole lot. I'm just putting it out here. And I see a lot of that. Within the schools, they are indoctrinated no matter what they do, it's right. And I feel bad for the boys. I feel really bad for them. Are you there?
Admit that I made a mistake
Yep.
because it makes me look weak.
Right.
And everybody has to be so strong.
Right.
And it's like, how are young people or people in general missing the fact that vulnerability and admitting when you're wrong is the greatest power you have?
That's right.
It's the greatest growth to be able to say, I made a mistake. I misjudged you. I was wrong.
Right.
Let's go from here.
Mhm.
I heard a little YouTube thing I was watching, and two people had a little disagreement, and
Mhm.
one person thought that the other person had said something about them, and it could have blown up. It could have been like a lifelong, you know, argument between these two people.
Right.
But one of them called the other one and said, I just want to talk to you. I just want to say, you know, what happened? Why did this happen? And they talked about it, and now they're like really great friends. And it's like, why can't we get to that point where we can just talk and just communicate with each other? And I think the whole I can't speak on Amber Heard because I think she had a big plot and a big plan, and she was going to take it to the end. Evan Rachel Wood, sometimes I feel like it's just gone so far. She just keeps going with it.
Yeah, she has to keep up with that narrative.
Yeah, she can't back it down. She can't. She just can't. She's like, and it's just like with the oh shoot, who was the girl that just had the breakdown on television, and the lawyer couple. I love that. Not Ashley Walters, which that's another thing. Ashley Walters.
Yeah.
I've watched. I've gone back, and let me just state for the record that I'm Manson's age, a little bit older, and liked Manson when I was younger. Wasn't like a big, huge fan. Had loved the Tourniquet and Beautiful People and all that stuff. I went right up my alley at that point in time in my life. I became a mom and a wife, and carried on with life. You're not really going to shows, doing stuff like that. But once all this stuff started, and I started really diving into who he is as a person, which again was let me back this up a bit.
Sure.
One of the things I thought about was during the death trial, they kept bringing up Marilyn Manson, right? Johnny Depp's friend is Marilyn Manson. Like that was going to tarnish Johnny Depp's image. Oh, you're friends with that weirdo, Marilyn Manson. Well, after that all ended, and then you start looking into Marilyn Manson, and it's like, oh, yeah, birds and feather do fly together because Marilyn Manson is a very nice person. He does do a lot of really nice things, and yet he did build his career on creating, and he is weird, and it was. Here I go again with having trouble saying something like, it was the way rock and roll was.
Yep.
And, people did do stupid stuff. Now he's a grown man. I lost my train of thought.
I'll go ahead and pick up where you left off. The dumb stuff that I have done when I was young. Oh my goodness. I was dumber than a dry rag. I mean, I just was that stupid. and well, no, not stupid, but extremely naive and lacking experience just within life. And then going through life, you start to mature and grow and realize, okay, I was that person then.
Mhm.
I'm someone different now. Right.
Doesn't, like, wash away, like, if something really bad happens,
Mhm.
that doesn't, like, wash that away, but there's a certain amount of, oh my God, what do you, here I go again with it. I can't, but it's not the only rock and roll band that did rock and roll stuff.
Mhm.
And I just, every interview, everything I saw a person that was not a really horrible person. I saw a smart person. I saw, you know, I'm sorry. I'm stopping because there's just so much in my brain.
Yeah,
So
I
much
get.
that I've
I know
watched,
exactly.
so much that I've thought about.
Mhm.
It's too much to condense into one little conversation.
Mhm.
And I think also, yeah, I just want, there's just too much going through my brain right now.
I completely understand. I
Symptoms and real things and what we do when we're young and real bad things and stupid things and does that make sense?
it does. And like,
Sense.
no, you are making sense. But the things that we have to do that Amber Heard has not done is to be able to accept responsibility and to apologize for the wrong that was done. Amber Heard has not apologized for a freaking parking ticket.
No.
She's going on with life as no matter what she does, her poo poo smells like roses.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go along in life like that, you have no time to look back and grow. I mean, she's over in Spain. Most definitely. She's over in Spain. She pulled down her pants and took a number two on the streets. Her friends are sitting there horrified, didn't want to look, but she's too busy acting like a 12-year-old. Yes, she's what, 36, 38, and she's acting like a teenager. There is no growth at all. She has not grown spiritually. She has not grown as a human being. She hasn't, the only thing that has grown was her level of poop that she produces. That's it. If you look at, can't believe I said that. I'm having a BGD moment. I'm just letting it go. With my analogies, whoop, they can really get there. I'm trying to be serious with it, but then it comes out funny.
No, I know. It's just too much. It's just,
Yeah, he hasn't grown, and because she can't say, "Hey, Johnny, you know, you said that you loved me, even though you possibly knew that my love for you was not real.
mm-hmm.
I want to tell you, Johnny, my love for you was real, and I wasn't ready for the type of love you were going to give me because of my immaturity and lack of experience as being a human being.
Mm-hmm.
Could you forgive me?" Johnny would
Yeah.
eat that up and say, yes, yes.
Well, I mean, look at the conversations he kept telling. Like, let's not, this will not be good for either one of us. It will
Namely
not
her.
be good.
Mhm.
Let's just let this relationship dissolve. And let me swing it back around to Manson and Dita when they divorced. Was there any like hoopla?
Nope.
No. I mean, and she walked away. She walked away, and like a true. I'm gonna sound like an old lady when I say this, but like a true lady, she walked away. She left her, whatever their problems were.
Mhm.
And she said irreconcilable differences.
Mhm.
And over the years, they become friends.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, like he wrote now on her book cover, and in the book that she did when she was married to him, she said, you know, really nice things about him, and I just don't think that, man. I mean, I understand people can change. You can definitely change who you are over time. But let's just look at these fellas from these times. All these other people are like, no, no, that wasn't the person I knew. That wasn't. So why would it be, just you? It's just you that.
Let me ask you, what are your thoughts of Rose McGowan?
Oh, I'm heartbroken because no, I have not read her book, but I saw Colonel Kurt's report on it, and she read what she wrote about Manson all those years ago, and that he's the one that was there for her and put her back together, and believed in her. Excuse me. And she was in some kind of crazy cult kind of life when she was young.
Mm.
And he believed in her, and just and that's what Evan Rachel Wood said about him in the beginning. You go back and look at her interviews, and she's like, he's the one that believed in me and let me be. I just it's just it was heartbreaking for me that Rose McGowan. And this is where I have trouble with when I say, oh, I used to consider myself a feminist because I wanted women to have equal rights and all of us be on the same playing field. For her to say what she said in her book, and then when he got accused, for her to say, oh, I stand with them. He didn't do that to me, but she's telling the truth.
I'm still mad at her. I'm still mad at her for that.
I mean, that was just heartbreaking. It was just like, why, look at the women that stood up for Johnny Depp.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't chicken poo to stand up and say, no, this is not the person I knew. This is not, can't believe this. Why didn't she say, I can't believe this. This is not, he never treated me that way. I can't believe he would ever treat anybody this way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just goes back to, why would you believe somebody just because of their gender? I mean, that goes back to when women weren't believed because a man said, oh, that little, girl, I just, it's like, we got to take people. We got to look at the facts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that simple. It's just that simple. You can't just blindly believe somebody.
I think Rose, she just, oh man, Rose is one of those, in my opinion, Rose is one of those types of people that has your back, but way back there someplace. Right back there someplace. She oh my goodness, how can I put this? She'll go along whatever the flow of whatever the group is saying. I'll go along to get along and not say, hey, this right here is wrong. No, this didn't happen. Marilyn Manson did not do this. Evan, come on now. Be honest. No, she just went along. She just took the least resistant path. And then when she went after Harvey Weinstein, and if he did do the things that he did do or accused of doing, Marilyn would have backed her. Marilyn would have been over there punching Harvey Weinstein in his face. That's what men do. She didn't back him.
You just look at any interviews. I mean, everything that comes up about any kind of issue with harming people, he's like, no, no, that's not okay. I mean, it's a deep dive. If you do any kind of research on him, I mean, it's just, man, it's just, I just don't. I've felt so frustrated over all this time, and Jordy White, who was the bassist for Marilyn Manson, uh, his ex person accused him, after 20 years of some stuff, and again, she accused him of things that were like picked from videos, and the same with Evan Rachel Wood. She's picking stuff that happened and I'm not talking about her chick Latin. I'm talking about like video. Oh, this happened to me. No, that was a video that didn't happen to you.
Yeah, she has no.
And the same with this, Jessica person. She's accused him of this, and both she and Evan, once Lainey passed, and it's so sad and so tragic what happened to her, because she had some serious depression and issues that were going on, and they both step up and like, oh, Lainey was my friend, and and there was one post that Evan Rachel Wood put up that she and Lainey were chatting back and forth, and if you watch anything about Lainey, she's just like this really sweet little, tiny little, beautiful little person, and just so kind. And she said, and I thought about this for a long time. She and Evan are back and forth, and Lainey says, we were both babes back then, and Evan's kind of pushing that. It's like, oh, we were just little girls when we were involved with these men. And it's like, no, I don't think that's what she's saying. I think she's saying that we were young when we got involved in Hollywood, in acting, in doing our jobs, in I think she just took that completely out of context. I know when I talk about things when I was in college, and I was in college for a long time because I loved it, and I would say, oh, I was a babe, I was just a little babe, because I was just naive and young, and it didn't relate to anything other than growing myself. And I think that, and this is just my opinion, but felt like that was the conversation, not because it was just, talked. It wasn't a full conversation. I don't think that was a conversation about their relationships with their men. I think it was a conversation about their lives and growing as young women in an industry.
Yeah, Evan, she's one of those types of people who can take anything and twist it.
Yeah.
She's highly manipulative. Highly. And I wanted to ask you, doggone it. Again, it was here.
Well, that's happening to me too.
Oh my goodness. Now, Evan, again, has a hard time distinguishing between what is real and what is reality. And this right here makes me think about Kavanaugh, the Supreme Court Justice. And you had Dr. Ford, which I have a lot of, I'm not going to get political, but just for this here. She accused him of doing things 30 years ago and accused him of raping her or having assaulted her. And then as time goes on, oh, I'm sorry. I made it wasn't him.
Oh. Wasn't him.
And I'm just like, well, there's a lot more to it, a way lot more. I'm just glossing over it to fit what we're saying right here. Now, Evan Rachel Wood, I mean, she, I want to say she reminds me of Joe Biden. She does. She don't know where she is.
Well,
But then again, her supporters, no matter what, her supporters will support her. No, Evan Rachel Wood could be jumping over the bridge, and her supporters will be foolish enough to follow.
jump on off.
Yep, because she says so.
Yeah, this is what I feel like. Why does it not get brought up for? And I don't want to, you don't want to drag this guy into it because he probably didn't do anything. But she's like, oh, I was just a child. I was only 18. Excuse me. Weren't you dating Ed Norton?
Thank you.
You dated me?
Thank you.
You weren't a babe out of the woods, you know.
And again, where were her parents?
Where were her parents?
I mean, she is the epitome of a latchkey kid. She got 2
kids, and I have learned that they have their own minds and their own things, but I would not back them if they were lying.
Oh, and I'm always
child got in a thing that was not good, and they had and then they started lying about it. I'd be like, well, I'm sorry. Do you remember your part in this?
Mhm.
Do you remember? Because that's accountability. You can't. Here we go back on growth. You can't grow. Neither one of these women are going to grow, and that gotta bring it up. I gotta bring Twiggy. I'm just gonna call him Twiggy because everybody knows it's Twiggy.
Okay.
But this woman that he was in a relationship in. Why? I don't understand why. If you had a bad relationship with someone, you wouldn't go back. If you felt so adamant that it was a bad relationship, why are you airing it out in the public? And I mean, I know the times are the times, but why would you not go back to that person and address them? You're both adults now. And if you ever listen to Twiggy talk, he's a very smart person that seems to be very approachable, especially if you're in a relationship with him, to say, you know what, you did X, Y, and Z, and that really messed me up. And that relationship sucked. I'm traumatized from what you did, and work through it. I mean, isn't that what you're supposed to do? Aren't you supposed to confront your trauma and say, this was not a good thing for me? But instead, just like stalk and stalk and stalk and stalk and post and post and post and ruin somebody's life because your relationship was shit. Fine.
Okay. It's okay.
But not, I can't, it just ticks me off that people that are in these relationships that were, maybe not what they thought they were going to be or whatever their agenda is, to just belittle real abusive relationships. And I know everybody keeps talking about that, but I mean, let's just put it out there. I mean, it's just really bad. It's really bad that you're just getting a platform to air your dirty laundry about your relationship. And other women are really, I just said women, men and women are really struggling in really bad abusive relationships, emotional, don't even begin to tell me that Evan Rachel Wood could not have left Marilyn. I know, I watched the whole thing where he lost his mind. I mean, he even said it. He even said, when she left me and I did all this stuff and it looked like a crazy person lived in my house. And it was me. I went crazy because she left me. But you can't, don't tell me she couldn't have left that man if he was abusing her. Don't tell me any of the, no, don't, don't tell me. Because they could. And somebody that's in a abusive relationship that's living, you know, I live in he used to live in Nashville, but live outside of Nashville, and I see these people that they don't have any money, they can't go anywhere, they don't have any please. And then all this, no, you weren't. No, you weren't. I mean, maybe emotionally it wasn't a good time for you. That you need to go to a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
You need to address this. But I'm sorry. Okay, now I'm getting fired up.
Yeah, therapy is key. Therapy is key, and a lot of people do not get it.
No.
They don't get it, and they run wild amongst us. Oh man, where is that? Amongst us, and they bring their brokenness with them. It's really, really wild. But another one who kind of soft accused him was Jenna Jamerson. I read that and I was like, okay, this is interesting. Jenna Jamerson accused Marilyn Manson, and I'm like, she knows not that she's a porn star. I can't say it, but porn star.
Yeah, gotcha.
She knows all different types of mechs. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And she knows the darkest of the dark to the lightest of the light. And she had an encounter with Marilyn Manson. Now, Marilyn, in my opinion, stays in his what do you call it? His act.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess when he's around Hollywood or whatever it is, he dresses up like Marilyn Manson as if he was on stage and portrays Marilyn Manson, not Brian Warner. So when she said that they had an encounter and he was a biter, I'm like, wait a minute, you're what? I'm just thinking, okay, Jenna, all right.
Incredible person. She's like
And she did him back. Okay. Now, this right here is what drives me crazy about women nowadays. I'm going to try hard not to go into a rant. I'm going to try very hard. Ooh. Okay. Women, we have agency to say, yes, I want this. No, no, I do not want this.
Right.
For women to get to the point, and I'm not talking about all women. I'm just talking about this group of women like Evan Rachel Wood and Amber Heard, who claim that they have no agency at all. I had to do this because, he asked me, and because he asked me, I did it. Well, when you ask, it's a yes or a no.
Right.
So you can say no, it's okay. But if you feel that you have to say yes, then hey.
Yeah.
I mean, you have agency.
I said this in a conversation about someone about this Manson situation. And I'm like, look, I feel like so telling. I don't feel like anything went on in their bedroom that potentially hadn't gone on in mine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there was any, and that's what's. I mean, she had the right to say no, and if she didn't feel strong enough to say no at the time,
That's it.
went through with something that she wasn't comfortable with, you know, that doesn't, we go abuse.
That's absolutely right. Because
Abuse is when you're like forced,
Mhm.
when you agree to do something that just doesn't, and there's been stuff in my relationship that my husband and I have done that I'm like, that's not my favorite thing.
Mhm. Are you there? Hello?
Hey, I'm here.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh no, where you went? Oh, I hope that I'm charging my phone, please. No, but
The good if you cut out of what I was saying.
oh, it's good. But
Too personal about my bedroom.
but we have to get to the point. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
This is why I can't really, in the beginning, it was like, oh, yeah. Um, uh, Evan Rachel Wood is Amber 2.0. No, she's not, because Amber was a monster to Johnny in the relationship.
Right.
And Evan was in a relationship that she enjoyed and then got out of, and then went back and said, oh, all this stuff. And that it just is so wrong for people that are in relationships that are bad.
Mhm.
She wasn't. I mean, I'm sorry. Obviously, I do not know these people. These people, are far away from my world. But
You know, I have to say is that piggybacking on off of what you were saying earlier about people bringing this up and putting on social media. Now, this right here is a new form of soap operas, and it gets deep. It gets really deep. I remember run home to watch General Hospital, and how people um, actually mimicking what they saw on General Hospital and bringing what is it called, art, and making it into their real life, because in their mind thinking this is how Bobby Spencer lives, or this is Luke and Laura, and blase blase. Now the soap operas are gone, and we have been brainwashed to the point that where we lived our lives as Luke and Laura, or whatever the other One Life to Live, all those soap operas. Now you live your life with social media on, like you not YouTube, like Instagram, and now you can videotape everything what you do. You put everything on Twitter and Tumblr, and you're doing things to get likes, to get clicks, to get noticed. See me, and it's oh my goodness, it is so troubling to see, because you have someone like Amber Heard who grew up poor, and she was able to get by on her beauty. Her personality is really stinky. From what you can see, she has a funky attitude, a funky personality, and she got by on her looks. And now that she did all this to Johnny, and Johnny tried his best to say, hey, Amber, let's do this privately. No, I want everybody to see, because they're saying that I'm an abuser, I'm a liar, I'm using you for your money. Well, damn it, Amber, you did.
Yeah.
You did. So so it has a lot to do with self-esteem and self-confidence. Her self-esteem is so low that she blew a gasket because he wanted to spend time with his daughter. And she's like, well, I need you. Get a dog.
Feel like after you get so, mad at them for what they've done, they kind of feel like geez, what's in that head of yours? Why are you, why are you doing this? Why do you need this? Why do you, and I don't know if you saw they talked about her and saying, she mimics, as part of her, not bipolar, what is it?
Her personality disorder.
Yeah, where she dressed like Johnny and, all this stuff. She went to a rally and the poet laureate, what is her name? That beautiful girl that spoke at the inauguration with the headbands. What's her name? Oh.
Was it me? BGD? She got a headband? Please stop. I'm not sure.
Shoot. Well, anyway, so she does that poetic way she talks,
Mhm.
and the way I'm like, I'm gesturing like you could see me, like I'm casting spells like Henry Wood and Marilyn Manson. But anyway, she got up there, and it was right after this girl gave her, her speech, and freaking Amber Heard was just like copying it. I'm like, you're just copying what you just heard. You can't be your authentic self. You don't know who you are.
That's right.
Staff.
It is.
I feel, and when I started talking about this earlier, not Ashley Waters, which, not Waters, but Walters, I saw an interview and Manson brought her on. Here I go bouncing around him. It was just so kind to her and so nice to her. It was on TV, so maybe it's all fake. But she wrecked his car.
Her and Esme.
Yeah, and it's like I would look at my husband. I'm like, why are they doing this? Why?
Because they can. And can I add on to that? Can I add on to that?
Sure.
She turned around and said that Marilyn was abusive, verbally abusive to her. Now, if you go and take my car, if I had a Pinto, okay, and you took my car and crashed it and made my insurance go up, I'm going to yell at you. Yes, I am. And then you're going to, oh, you.
That Marilyn Manson is, he's a rock star. He's famous. He wants what he wants. He's got a lot of stuff going on. And probably is a little bit of a prima donna. And he might say stuff.
Mhm.
Shit. I'm sorry. My husband can say things that hurts my feeling. Be like, oh, it was verbally abusive. He's my husband, and we talk about it, and it's fine. And I think that's the same type of stuff that was going on. Nothing more than regular people having a regular relationship, and sometimes somebody acts like a diva. I can be a diva too. And so can my husband, so can Marilyn Manson, and so can Ashley Waters, and we can all say things that are kind of wrong and hurtful. But if you hold that in, and you don't address that, going back to the other conversation I had with the two people that, oh, this is an argument, and then they just talk about it instead of, oh, 15 years later, I'm going to bring it up. And he yelled at me because, I didn't file, but he was the way he wanted to file. Well, he's your boss.
Right. And
fact that said everything that my boss said that hurt my feeling. That's to every boss I ever had.
But it's at the point to where, because of all of this foolishness, all of this heightened sensitivity, and all of this heightened entitlement, is that men won't even stay in the same room with a woman.
Oh.
They don't know. Men, Men are not going out and going out to date women. I mean, it's at the point to where now men has to have a full itinerary of what they're going to do. Tell me what you want me to do because y'all don't want you coming back and saying I raped you because I mean it's at the point to where now women are suing men for a date that didn't go well. I'm like, oh my God.
My son is oh, let's see, he is 27, and he was in a relationship, and he's out of the relationship, and the relationship was kind of, it didn't end well, but then they again, and this is why I feel like I'm valid in speaking on what I'm speaking on, because it was nasty for a while, nasty, 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 and they were able to come together and work through it for the best of everything. And they have a decent relationship.
Good.
Now he doesn't want to date anybody. He doesn't want to be in a relationship because of and there's a part of me, and that's so sad. There's a part of me that's like, okay, good. And I don't want that. I want him to have a relationship, with someone that's okay. That's a whole. But let's move away from that. That's a whole other topic. But yeah, it's just.
Yeah, it's like Evan Rachel Wood and Amber Heard have a lot were allowed to run wild on the world. And now we have women like that influencing the Gen Z. Oh my goodness. Oh, you would have mercy.
Oh.
Oh man, talk to young people. We as older women, and I make a concerted effort to talk to these young women. Like I was coming out of the Starbucks, and I saw this group of teenagers, or maybe young 20s, maybe I guess. And a young man opened up the door for me, and I said, "We need to clone you." He said, "Huh?" And I said, "We need to clone you." Men very seldomly open up the door for people, especially women. And so she goes, "Oh, well, look, there's my boyfriend." And I said to her, I said, "Do you treat him right?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you come back with a funky attitude or having your neck popping and saying wild things to him?" She said, "No." And I said, "Don't, because you have a young man who would open up the door. And a lot of men don't do that. You got a good guy right there. I don't know him from a can of DuPont paint. However, if he's cognizant enough to open up a door for a woman, you want to make sure that you continuously feed in a positive manner for him to continue to do right by women. And his experiences will be based on what you do."
Yeah. I mean, it's just like kindness matters. I mean, I hate to be cliche, but kindness matters in every day. I mean, doesn't it just, well, I'm asking you because you just said it. It just perks up your day when somebody's kind to you out of the blue.
Yeah.
And talk about things. And that sweet little Lainey that passed away, and she was on a show called Face Off on the Sci-Fi Channel. And I went back and watched it, just to kind of, get to know her as best you can through knowing somebody that it's far, far away and in a different, and she even had the guts, as sweet and kind as she was, just very kind of a timid, sweet girl. And she was teamed up with somebody, and they were working on something, and they were having a conflict. And she said, she had the courage to say, "Did you not like what I did?" And the girl said, "No, I really didn't. I didn't say anything." And she said, "Well, you should have." Because honesty, even if it might sting at first, is the best way to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to be like, preaching, but just,
Somebody needs to hear this. Keep going. Someone needs to hear this. This conversation is going for a reason, and someone is going to need to hear your words to help them get where they need to be.
it's just, life is tough. And, everybody has their ups and their downs.
Yes.
Just the other day, I was just really, kind of down, and you can stay there and wallow in it, or you can look around at what's good. And sometimes it's really hard to look at what's good, and it's hard to be honest. Sometimes, I heard one of the, oh gosh, I can't remember. It's like somebody talking about being honest, and it's like sometimes it's hard to be honest because it's hard to say it, and you don't want to hurt that person. But honesty in the end is just the way to be. I mean, now I'm not saying like, oh, somebody has a really jacked up haircut. They're like, do you like it? And you're like, yeah. There's that. But then there's like being honest with your feelings in a way that you present it. Don't be honest in a like way. Just, I don't know.
I think honesty is always the best policy. And I think many people have a hard time with honesty because, and this is simply my opinion, and this is a general stroke, okay? People have a problem with honesty because it will infringe on what they're doing. What I'm doing is right no matter what. And I'm right because I say I'm right. Like, this student handed me a paper. And, they have me in all different classes, advanced classes, and whatever it is. And this student handed in the paper. And I looked at it, I said, you want to go ahead and check it, recheck it? Oh, this paper's an A. I can say I can guarantee you it is not. And they're like, oh, well, you're a sub, what do you know? And I'm like, goodness gracious. I'm just like, okay. I'm going to let that slide because you're young and you know very little. I said, substitute teachers sub because they want to, not because they have to. Your teachers teach because they have to. They sign a contract. Big difference. And many subs have way more experience than your teachers. Having said that, recheck your paper. If not, let somebody else look at it.
Yeah.
Because I handed it in. It's right.
Yeah.
I did it. It's right. I get an A.
Yeah.
It's wild.
I did some work, and you're right. And you just made me think about honesty. And when you're honest with somebody, you're making an investment in that person because you got to follow up.
Yeah.
You can't leave that person hanging if you tell them the truth.
Yeah.
But if you lie to them and say, oh, yeah, that's good. That's a good paper. Then they're off your plate and they've moved on.
Oh, man, I see so many teachers.
No investment in that person. And I remember, and I've tried to instill this in my kids, is, the people that matter in my life, that don't even know they matter in my life, were two of my English teachers at college, and here I go to my college, and I'm writing a paper, and I had never. I thought I was fortunate at the time in high school that our English teacher never made us write a thesis or a term paper.
Uh-huh.
So I have no idea what I'm doing, and I write my paper, and my teacher in college calls me in and is like, it's an F.
Yeah.
And she didn't have to tell me that. She called me in. She took the time to tell me the truth. This is an F. And then she talked with me, and then we worked through it. She goes, you know everything about this subject. Write that. And then, in the end, because I had never written a paper like that, I made, the little dots you put at the end with your citations.
Mhm.
So I messed that up and then put the dots. And she's like, this is an A paper, but you failed to put dots at the end of your citation. So you failed.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I can do all citations except for Chicago.
She took the time to tell me the truth.
Yep.
Both times. And I learned from that because, and it's a two-way street. If you're willing to learn and your mind is open to say, I'm listening to you, tell me the truth.
Yep.
And I'm accepting what you're saying about me. It's not a criticism about my personality or my even intelligence.
Mhm.
It's just you are somebody that is telling me your observation, and that she was, a teacher, but and I would tell my kids that too. It's like, why would I tell you something if I'm not observing it? If I'm not seeing that you're doing something you maybe shouldn't be doing, why would I address you on it?
Hold on for 1 second. For those of you who think that we are off topic, we are completely on topic. We're still talking about Amber Heard and Evan Rachel Wood, and by them not being able to look at themselves and to grow from their mistakes. So even though that we're slightly talking about something different, the foundation is still the same. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't want them saying, well, you're off topic and you're same thing.
It's so relevant,
Yeah.
Like there's a little podcast I listen to, and they always start off on one topic, and then it just kind of meanders, and I love it because it's a podcast like the way I think. It just meanders around, but then it ultimately comes back around to the point, because all these things
Mhm.
are relevant in the point of what we're talking about.
Right.
It's like your personality makeup and being able to grow and being able to accept responsibility and, just being a good human. I mean, it's good to be a human. It's really good. And we have the potential to be really good humans. All of us.
And I'm going to take it one step further. I think what Amber Heard is going through, oh, she is being stripped of all of her garbage down to her bare essentials. And sometimes some people have to be beaten down so far that they have no other choice but to look at themselves.
Where's your bottom?
Yep.
Where's her bottom? Is she going to reach that bottom? You know what? When you get to the bottom, and I think, I keep harkening back to this girl with Manson, Smith line, the girl with the lawyer. And it's like, people said, if you would just come clean, just say this was wrong, people would, some people won't, but so many people will go, thank goodness you told the truth. Okay. Redeem yourself.
Right.
Well,
she's young. She's young and she's still into that phase to where the people that are around her are more important. She's afraid of Evan Rachel Wood and what she'll do. And she's not looking at her own individual power
right.
as her, she doesn't in my opinion, and I'm just looking at the broad stroke, I'm just talking broadly,
Mhm.
that, oh my goodness, um, that if she were to simply say, hey, okay, Marilyn, you were good to me, and I got caught up into something, and I didn't know that I was getting into this, and Evan Rachel Wood just snared me into this to where I felt like I had to lie on you in order to save myself, and not looking at the damage that was happening to you. Now, if she were to say, hey, I'm a human being, I screwed up, you're absolutely right. She should have. But however, her ego, her arrogance, her youthfulness, and her friendship attachment, or whatever it is, to Evan Rachel Wood is stronger
Mhm.
than her own self-esteem and self-worth.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't see her until she starts hitting her 40s to where she really starts saying, hey, I got to back up here. I have to work on my own moral compass. I have a threshold to let my my yeses be yes, my no's be no's, and if that right there is not right, I'm going to say it's not right, and I'm going to back away from it. But I don't see her. Maybe, maybe even her 50s. Who knows?
Who knows? And and that's the thing that's hard too. Yeah. And this, just like we just said, it's like, unfortunately, it comes with age. But let's just
Yep.
be honest. Brains don't develop in the front. Um, but it's scary to admit that you're wrong, because you're just trying, even the person that you're fighting against or saying bad things against. If you have forward, you might want to just be, washed clean.
Yep.
Oh, I apologize, and everybody loves me now. No, the truth is, you can make your apology,
Mhm.
and that person might not accept it, but it's about you.
Right.
That is where self-care comes in, because we get a little wiki-waki on the self-care thing.
Yeah.
Self-care, like, I have to do what I want. I'm going to do this for me. Da, da, da. No, that's not self-care. Self-care is taking care of yourself spiritually and physically, getting exercise, but coming clean with yourself and saying to yourself, self, I messed up, and I'm going to apologize for my mess up. And this person may not accept my apology, but I've made peace with myself.
Mhm.
And then you let that person go.
Mhm. Well, I know Johnny Depp most definitely did that. And I think one of the best things he did was he sued Amber. That was one of the best things he did, when he said, we can straighten this out. And she kept on with her foolishness. But I have to say one thing about Johnny Depp and Marilyn Manson. They need to leave these young women alone.
Mm.
They do. They are so young and so immature.
Yeah.
Their maturity levels are so low that by them, they're only looking at them as eye candy. And they gotta stop it.
Yeah, and well, that's what I said, or I thought about Evan Rachel Wood and Manson. And Manson was with his, and I mean no harm against Lindsay, because I don't know about that situation. I hope everything is well and good. But Dita was his.
Mm-hmm.
They were close in age. When you listen to her, they have the same theories on life, um, about being true to who you are. Dita says, I'm Dita on stage. And that brings up another thing that irks me about the Manson stuff. When Manson says, I'm Marilyn Manson on stage, I'm
Yep.
off stage just like he is on stage.
Mhm.
I don't think that's what he's saying. What he's saying is, my belief system
Oh man. Are you still there?
Here,
Okay. It went out a little bit. Oh man. Mhm.
it's for me not to go deep into this thing, but you know, he was his equal in what, but you know, he was wanting from him what he couldn't deliver at that time.
Yep.
And he said it. He said, I'm your peer. He said, I'm a peer man and I didn't want to grow up.
That's right.
And then here comes Evan Rachel Wood. Party, party, party.
That's it.
Let's go. Let's party. I'm young. I get you. And she was his muse and she freaking broke his heart to pieces because he really thought he found his soulmate. Here, his relationship with somebody he loved, who was his equal in his thoughts and in furthering their careers and everything. And this little party girl pops up while he's having trouble in his marriage. And she says, well, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she's finished with her party, she says, oh, he just took advantage of me and I didn't know what I was doing and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, give me a break. Okay, I didn't know what I was talking about. But yeah, the young women, you know, and that's, and here is the Twiggy person, you know, that was the bassist for Manson. Laney was quite a bit younger than him as well. But the difference is, Laney was of a different character because they separated and stayed friends forever. And they said, we just grew apart. Our age difference is what we still loved each other. But the age difference was just too much.
Yep. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna let you finish your thought and then I'm gonna close it up.
And yeah, we've been talking for
About an hour.
And I appreciate you. I love your comments and everything. And thank you so much for letting me talk to you. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome. I mean, I really appreciate it because you're giving the perspective and what you're saying, someone needs to hear.
Oh, thank you.
Someone needs to hear.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Tell them hi.
He said, hi.
Oh, I'm so silly.
Well, and thank you so much. And we'll chat again another time.
Thank you. And this was an impromptu. Next week, I'm going to start live streaming more. I had some personal things I need to deal with. And I'm like, okay, let me try to keep up with this. And I have another channel, Politics with Laura. I'm like, oh, all this crazy stuff is coming out on politics. I'm like, goodness gracious. Woo. All right, well, let me go ahead and let you go. And I thank you.
Thank you. And we will chat again.
Okay. All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, okay, that was a great conversation, and we got a lot done and talked about a lot of things that pertain to Evan Rachel Wood and Amber Heard in their inabilities to say, hey, I'm wrong, their inabilities to self-reflect, to do anything that would make them grow. But on that note, I just simply want to thank all of you for stopping by.